Hello, my fragrance friends. Welcome back to the channel. Today will be a little bit more, a little bit more of an informal video. Today I just wanted to go over how to layer your fragrances at the cellular level. And today is more of a teach video, so I just kind of wanted to sit down and be comfortable for this. And I just wanted to state, even if you've watched one of my videos before, you know that I don't edit any of my videos, so it's kind of free-form content. And so with that said, I'm going to have my notes with me, and I'll be referring to my notes while I'm teaching you, because I won't be able to go and edit anything that I forgot to say or said not in the right order at the end. So whatever you get is what you guys. I want to make sure you guys get quality content, and I'm structured with my notes, because when I get nervous I get forgetful, and I'm still new to this, so I still get forgetful when I do this. Okay, and just a little thing, I keep my head off camera again for the privacy of my career. I am not a shy person, so if you need a head to look at, you have a Dana Scully over here. Say hi to Dana. You can look her in the eye sockets right there if you need a head to look at. All right. So let's just keep this short and sweet. Well, short and sweet probably meaning 20 minutes. Yeah, so I hope you don't mind the notes out of my lap. Again, I get forgetful when I'm nervous, and I'm still kind of new to this whole YouTube thing, but at the same time I kind of want to make sure you get the proper information, okay? All right, so how to layer your fragrances at the cellular level. Okay, so today we're going to deep dive into the body, and we'll be learning how to optimize our body environment to better hold on to our fragrances, right? So when we externally layer, we get the best results, right? And I'm going to do this in a quick to understand rationale. So it's not going to be complicated. It's not going to be convoluted. It's just going to be quick, easy to understand rationale with actionable items, so you can actually implement into your daily lives just as I do. So whatever advice that I use in my own life, I will be passing it on to you. Okay, so, all over the internet, we have external how to layer your fragrance routines, right? There's thousands of these videos available on YouTube. They're available on TikTok, Instagram, etc., everywhere, right? And some even tell you to drink water to hydrate. Okay, but we're going to go even further. We're going to go deeper in, okay? We're going to deep dive into the body, okay? All right. So, and some of these fragrance videos, they go the extra step to say, or fragrance tips videos, they even say stay hydrated by drinking lots of water, right? Okay, cool. But what does that mean? And furthermore, right, what does that mean for people who do all these fundamental steps, right? All these external fundamental steps, and they still struggle with having fragrances last on them, right? So the first thing we're going to tackle together is how to hydrate properly. Okay, great. So point number one, we're going to talk about hydration. Okay, so we want to drink water. Okay, cool. All right, per the Mayo Clinic, they had estimated that for women, that they should drink 2.7 liters per day, which is approximately 11.5 cups. But we know life is not an easy metric, right? Because everybody's a different height, they're a different weight. So I would recommend, and a lot of other people recommend, to drink half your body weight in water. And again, what does this mean, and what are the conversions? So let's say you weigh 110 pounds, right? So half 110 would be 55. So you would drink 55 ounces of water, right? And what does that convert to? The ounces to water. So you would drink approximately 6 to 7 cups of water on a daily basis. Okay, so take your body weight, cut it in half, and then convert that into ounces, and then you'll know the amount of water that you will need to drink, right? Okay, great. That pen over there. Okay, so I think it's common knowledge, but I still want to reiterate it because, sometimes we all need a reminder, or sometimes some of us may have not been exposed to this information, right? Some of you watching me are still in high school. All right, so our body is composed of approximately 70% water, so that tells you how critical it is for us to get this water into our body, okay? But more importantly than getting the quantitative amount of water into our body, we need to make sure it's being absorbed properly. So I'm speaking to the people that are saying, I'm layering my fragrances, right? I'm drinking the water, but nothing seems to help. This is for you guys, right? Or the people who want to take the fragrances to a whole nother stratosphere, okay? All right, so what if you do all those steps that out there, right, and it's still not enough, right? So what we need to do is we need to increase the electrolytes in your body, okay? And electrolytes are potassium, sodium, calcium, and magnesium, right? And basically, electrolytes help the running of your body, essentially, okay? I'm not going to get into details. It helps your body properly, and more importantly, it helps your body properly hydrate on the cellular level, okay? All right, so I would recommend the actionable step here. In your morning cup of water, use Celtic salt. Celtic salt, Celtic salt, Celtic salt, all right? Use a pinch of Celtic salt so as soon as you get out of bed, the water that you drink to hydrate after you break your fast of fasting all night, go to your kitchen or keep it by your bedside, Celtic salt, quality Celtic salt. And I'm going to say this because it's super important. Do not use table salt. Do not use that Morton salt. Don't use all the other stuff with the girl with the yellow jacket and under the, the umbrella. Not table salt, not iodized salt. I'm talking about Celtic salt. It's a specific kind of salt that has trace minerals. And this trace minerals is what we're going to need to maintain an environment of electrolytes in our body, okay? So basically for daily maintenance of electrolytes. So considering we're at a baseline, we're not skewing upward, we're not skewing downward, we just want to maintain a baseline, right? So I would recommend as soon as you wake up in the morning, when you break your fast, you're still on an empty stomach, when you drink your cup of water, even if it's just room temperature, actually I would prefer you drink to room temperature water, is what I do. Take a pinch of Celtic water, stir, 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 and drink it in the morning to help maintain just our daily maintenance of electrolytes in your body. And introducing these electrolytes into your body will help maintain the proper hydration in your body, right? Because maybe you're drinking water, but you're not properly absorbing it, right? So that's one step. But now I want to speak to the people that can have their electrolytes thrown off. We can have our electrolytes thrown off for a huge amount of reasons. For example, if you do intense exercise and you sweat profusely and you exercise often, right? Or example, you recently had an illness, right? And you were sweating profusely, you were vomiting, or you were, how do I say this delicately, vomiting from the other end that's not your mouth, if you catch my drift. So things like this throw off your electrolytes in your body. So now this is the baseline. Now you've skewed under the baseline. So now we need to bring up the electrolytes here. Okay? So I mean, a lot of people, they drink things like Pedialyte and Gatorade to, replenish the electrolytes, or IV hydration and things of those nature. But I tend to prefer to stay away from it unless for emergency circumstances. I would recommend to stay away from it because usually they are sugar laden, they are chemical heavy, and there are just so many other natural options to use, right? So if you do intense exercise, or if you were just recently sick, or you just want to keep this into your diet and use this several times a week. So things like unsweetened coconut water is a great way to replenish your electrolytes, right? Introduce more electrolytes into your body. Things like banana, which have high amounts of potassium. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, but again, it bears repeating, okay? And I would highly recommend, again, to stay away from chemical things like Gatorade, unless it's an emergency situation. You gotta do what you gotta do. And Pedialyte and all those things such as that. So, maintaining, just to reiterate, I want you guys to maintain your daily electrolytes with your first cup of water when you get out of bed and you break your fast, right? Your fast meaning you're not eating throughout the duration of the night while you were sleeping and restoring. And in addition, for the people who exercise a lot and or who were sick, for example, and their electrolytes are out of whack. So drink things like unsweetened coconut water, right? And make sure you're eating your potassium, things of that nature to kind of bring up the baseline again, okay? So that's like step number one, right? how to hydrate properly. Now we're gonna take it to the next step. Okay? Now we're gonna talk about things to reduce acidity in our body by healthy eating, right? So I just want to do a little bit of a disclaimer here, okay? And I'll do a little bit of history, a quick little history as to this whole thing of alkaline body environments. In 1912, okay, there was a paper published called the alkaline ash theory, and hold that word in your head, theory, alkaline ash theory. And I'm not going to go into details, but based on this, it was supposed that eating certain foods will lower acidity in the body, right? And furthermore goes on to say acidic environments, inflamed environments foster disease and cancer and so on and so forth, right? And one thing I also want to note, it's critical to note, I think, that you can not actually change the pH of your blood, right? That would be bad, because if your blood pH actually changed, something is severely wrong, and that would likely be very life-threatening. However, you can change the pH of things, for example, such as your saliva and your urine. So bear that in mind. Okay, great. So while there is almost no actual scientific data, I wanted to know, so this whole alkaline food, alkaline environment is a hotly debated topic in the scientific community. So while there is almost no actual scientific data to prove this whole idea of alkalinizing the body, conversely, there is almost no actual data to refute it either. So therefore, lack of data does not necessarily, or lack or absence of data does not necessarily make something untrue. Does that make sense? Just because the data doesn't exist does not make it not true. Okay? Oh, and another disclaimer, oh my goodness, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video, I am not a doctor. However, I do have a degree in neuroscience, which is the study of the brain, and I have a graduate degree in medical microbiology and infectious diseases. So while I am not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I am well versed in science, and not only that, I am also telling you from my own life experience, but please know that I am well versed in science, just for your own peace of mind. Okay, now with that little disclaimer out, okay, so eating foods that are more natural, more plant-based, more raw, more alkalinic will help, right? Because basically, I understand that eating high acidic foods such as dairy, meat, poultry, and fish. Okay, well, hold on. Let me back up here. Okay, back up. So essentially, even if we take away this whole alkaline argument and put it to the side, at the end of the day, eating things that are plant-based, eating things that are raw in nature, raw meaning plant-based fruits, things that are not processed, those are the things we want to get our hands on, right? And so with this whole alkaline theory, they're saying also, the reason why I also have a problem with it is because it doesn't really leave too much room for things like meat and poultry and fish and eggs, things that are considered acidic. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's a problem for me, and I think for a lot of other people, is that culturally, for a lot of people, these things are central to the culture, right? Things like fish and meat and chicken and eggs, right? And you can't tell somebody that you need to cut that out or basically have none of it in order to foster a proper environment. Yes, get as many plants and vegetables into your body, legumes and all that great stuff into your diet. But I would not say eliminate acidic foods. I would say moderate it, yes. For example, like it's just not going to be feasible long term because cultures, for example, Bangladeshi culture, they eat a lot of fish, right? Jamaicans eat a lot of fish as well. And the Southeast Asian countries like Pakistan and India eat so much meat and beef and lamb. So it's so critical to part of the cultures of so many people. So to be sensitive to that, I want to do something that's kind of sensitive to everybody and inclusive of everybody, and not asking somebody to kind of push away their culture to be healthy. Again, so it's all about maintaining a balance, right? So yeah, you can have fish and meat, but just moderate it, right? You don't eat it all the time because the fact is it is acidic in nature, right? So increase raw vegetables, fruits into your diet, and try. And here's the kicker: this has nothing to do with culture, right? Processed foods. Now that is the killer right there, right there, right? Processed foods, right? So the reason why I'm not going to get granular about which foods are considered foods, like vegetables and fruits, which are considered alkaline, because I want to keep it simple and I want to keep it attainable. So just listen to this one thing here, right? If it grows in nature, right, eat more of it. For example, green leafy vegetables, legumes, fruits. And if it is man-made, avoid it. Things like processed foods, right? High fructose corn syrup, refined sugar, soda, right? So you see how that leaves space for cultural sensitivity too, for things that people can still introduce into the diet. So, beef and chicken, yes, I would consider that a natural thing, not a man-made thing. And while it would be great to eat, grass-fed, free-roaming, non-GMO, organic meat and beef and so on and so forth, the fact is 99.9% of us don't have access and or cannot afford such expensive meat, right? So I would just say moderate the amount of meat you're eating and try and do a little research about where it's coming from, to make sure it's not injected with GMOs and antibiotics. Do the best we can, but at the end of the day, if you're strapped for cash, just be mindful and increase amount of natural foods in your diet. So if you cannot get your hands on organic food in the grocery store, I'd recommend staying on the outer aisles. So if you're familiar with grocery stores, you'll know what I'm talking about. On the outer aisles are more the fresher produce. You have the meat, and inside on the inner aisles are generally the processed foods, right? So when you're shopping, stay on the outer perimeter. And even if you cannot get organic, I would rather you eat kale, I would rather you eat spinach, I would rather you eat bell peppers that are not organic than not eat it at all. Do you understand what I'm saying? So do not feel bad if you cannot get your hands on non-GMO and organic this and organic that. I would rather be you feeding you and your children vegetables and fruits than not at all. Okay? Sorry, this is my own little thing that I'm really, it bugs me. Okay, so if it's natural, eat it. If it's man-made, avoid it. Simple. I'm not going to get into granulars, just think that if it's green, it's natural, it's fruit, it's growing out of the earth, it's growing on a tree, it's God-made, go ahead and eat it. Okay, now I want to take it one step further. I want to introduce probiotics. So in our body, I think bacteria gets such a bad rap because everybody thinks that bacteria is bad. And yes, that's true. Some bacteria are bad. But there's also good bacteria, right? So in our body, we need to maintain, because on our skin, we have good bacteria and we have bad bacteria, internally and externally, right? It helps our body regulate itself. It helps the protection of our body and the regulation of our body. We need bacteria. We need good bacteria. So what are one of the ways that we can increase this good bacteria in our body, right? To help create an army to fight against the bad bacteria. So you have the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. We want to increase the load of the good bacteria in the body to help do what it does to fight the bad bacteria, right? Okay, so I want us to introduce probiotics into our diet. And probiotics stabilize and maintain a healthy gastrointestinal, right, system, aka your gut, aka your tummy. And a healthy gut allows for proper and efficient absorption of nutrients that your body needs to function. Okay, so this is really critical. So first we went over hydration, then we went over to how to properly hydrate, then we went over how to get some natural nutrients into your body with healthy eating, and now we're going to the GI system, right? How to maintain that to make sure all these good nutrients, right, are being absorbed from the foods that you're eating, right? And also maintaining the good bacteria in your body for it to do what it does, right? Okay, excuse me. So what are some practical ways that we can increase the good bacteria in our body, right? You can eat things, you can buy, supplements such as Cultural or Azo and so on and so forth, but that's pricey for a lot of people. And there are many other natural ways for you to get it. I do use probiotic supplements, but that's only like maybe 15 to 20% of the time. 15 to 20, yeah, so 80% of the time I'm actually ingesting natural probiotics. So eat plain yogurt with live cultures, right? That is the best way to do it. I would recommend staying away from things from yogurts that are colored. So if they have crazy colors, they're pink, they're blue, they're purple, they're green, or they have fruit on the bottom and they're sugar laden, I would recommend to stay away from that. To actually, and I'm not saying you don't eat them, I'm just saying for the actual probiotic amount that you need to make sure it's properly coming into your body, I would recommend to keep a container of unflavored, plain, non-sweet yogurt in your fridge that has live cultures in it. Okay, I'm not saying you can't have those sweet yogurts for fun every now and then, but to actually maintain a healthy gut, make sure at all times, because I do sometimes 2-3 cartons of it because I eat it a lot, of plain yogurt, unsweetened, unflavored, with live cultures, right? And there's another way you can do it. You can eat sauerkraut. That's another thing. I have like a couple of cartons of sauerkraut that I literally just eat straight out of, put it in a plate. But I'm a little crazy, but that's another way you can do it. Or you could introduce it with the foods that you eat, like a side dish. Another thing you can do is kimchi. Kimchi is really high in probiotics, and I also eat kimchi too. So I mix it up. Like sometimes I'll have a cultural, probiotic supplement in a little pill form, but majority of the time I'm ingesting it, eating it naturally through my yogurt, through sauerkraut, and through kimchi. That is generally how I'm getting 80% of my probiotics into my body. Okay, and again, I recommend to please stay away from those sugar-laden, color-laden yogurts for probiotic needs. Just stay natural. And there's something else called kefir. Kefir. It's basically like a cross between a yogurt and a milk, and again, it is probiotic rich. So yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, and kefir are some great ways to introduce probiotics into your diet, right? Okay, now on to the last point, because I don't want to keep this too long. All right, so now we're hydrated, we hydrated properly, we optimize our actual body, right, to properly absorb the things that we need. Now we're going to go over supplements to take internally to optimize ourselves at the cellular level, right? See how we're priming ourselves, right? Fragrance is not just on the outside. We need to also make sure that the canvas that we're putting on is properly primed, right? So if you're an artist and you paint, you'll understand priming the canvas. All of these steps is to prime the canvas to prep for the paint, which will be the fragrance. Okay, so the first thing I would recommend, I will give you one quick explanation why you need it, and two, a quick explanation why you need it. Okay, so vitamin D. So actually, a lot of us are surprisingly deficient in vitamin D, and research shows that low levels of vitamin D increase the chances of dry skin, right? So literally, if you're familiar with the fragrance world, you'll know that dry skin is not does not mesh well with holding on to fragrances. So one of the reasons, so let's take this all back for a minute here, right? So let's say we have a bowl here. Let's say this is a bowl. Okay, here we have a cup. Here we have my cup. So you're doing all the things. You're layering all your fragrances on the outside. You're exfoliating. You're doing all that snazzy things, right? And you're drinking the water, drinking, right? But you didn't implement all the other steps that I just told you, right? You are drinking water, but you're not drinking efficiently. There's no electrolytes. So you're pouring in all this empty water, and there's a hole at the end of the cup. So you're pouring in, and it's coming out. Pouring in, coming out. Pouring in, coming out. So it eventually comes to a net zero effect. And I think that's what a lot of you that are struggling with having fragrances last is you're having that net zero effect because you didn't have these steps to implement here, right? So another thing, so let's say you're also having the water come in, you're doing electrolytes and you're still struggling. So it could be that you need vitamin D and you need a few of these items that I'm about to mention, right? So we're going to find ways to seal up the hole that's at the end of the cup that's allowing the water and all the work that you're doing to leak out. So all these supplements here are gonna seal up that hole at the end of the cup to make sure everything stays in, the hydration stays in, and that fragrance stays on your skin. Okay, so vitamin D, get some vitamin D3 specifically. Vitamin D3, get that supplement and make sure you take it on a daily basis, because most of us are surprisingly low in it and we don't even know it. B vitamins, I would recommend to take a B complex vitamins and make sure your B complex vitamins has, I'm not going to go over every one, but make sure it has things like B7, right? B7 supplies essential fatty acids to our skin and prevents cell damage and water loss, right? So B7 helps water loss. To hold on to the fragrance, we need to make sure we have hydrated skin. So we need to make sure we're not losing the water, okay? So B7, for example, right? So that's just one example. So we look for a good comprehensive B vitamin, right? To make sure we're locking in and not losing moisture, okay? And another thing everybody knows, I think is very common knowledge because it's very well marketed, is biotin. It helps with hair, skin, and nails. So I'm not going to get too much into that because I know a lot of people are actually allergic to biotin and not able to take it. So I'm just going to say, hey, biotin, and move right along because I know a lot of people personally that are allergic to it. So it's something they can't even do. So the next thing that you can do, zinc, Z-I-N-C. And zinc does many things, but one of the things it does in particular to this topic here is that it aids in the prevention of water loss from the skin to the environment. So you hear that again? So another supplement to make sure we're not losing the water that we just all put in there. All that hard work that we're doing, we want to make sure we're not losing it to the external environment, yeah? So we have that vitamin D, we have the vitamin B, so make sure you're taking your zinc too, right? Because all that water, we want to hold on to as much water as we can, right? So make sure you're getting your zinc in. And the next one, all right? This is really critical. The next two are going to be really, really critical, okay? So I want you to get yourself a good collagen oral supplement. For example, like the collagen powder, right? There are so many options now. We have ones that are animal-based that we see is the bovine-based, B-O-V-I-N-E. There are fish-based collagen supplements. There are vegan-based collagen supplements. There are halal-based collagen supplements. There's kosher-based collagen supplements. So there's just so many options now available to you, and it's going to be very important for you in changing your fragrance game. Collagen. Oral collagen, the powder that you mix into coffee or tea or whatever the case may be. Per the NCBI, okay, this is really important. Per the NCBI, oral collagen supplements improve, okay, hydration, elasticity, and density. And I'm going to repeat that again. Per the NCBI research, oral collagen supplements improve skin hydration, elasticity, and density. And I want to also focus on density as well, because density is basically those who say they have thin skin. They say, oh, I have thin skin, so fragrance does not hold on to my skin. This is here for you. Take collagen supplements, right? Hydration, elasticity, and density. And all those lotions and stuff that have with collagen, they're by research not really scientifically proven to be effective, right? They're not really efficacious. It's more of a marketing thing. For real, like actual collagen intake, you need to take internal supplements, right? So get your hand on some good collagen supplement, take it daily, and be consistent with it. Again, all these things I'm telling you are not going to help overnight. You need to be consistent with it, and you need to be disciplined, okay? All right, great. So now we have the collagen. But now what's even more critical than taking the collagen, and this is going to be my last point here before I wrap it up, is vitamin C. And you're saying, oh, well, I knew that, but why did you wait till the end to mention vitamin C? And I'm going to tell you. Vitamin C is critical to take with collagen. You know why? Because vitamin C is needed for the production. It plays basically a critical role in the production and maintenance of collagen in our body, right? So you're taking all these collagen supplements, and I'm sure it's going to help. But if you're not taking enough vitamin C, right, the daily dose of vitamin C for whatever that may be for you, you're not going to be properly producing the collagen in your body, you need to also give it the tools that it needs. So that makes sense? So the collagen needs a vitamin C. That's why I saved it for the end, okay? So again, you need your vitamin D3, you need your B complex vitamins, you need to get that zinc in your body, you need to have the oral collagen supplements. Do not waste your time with lotions, with topical collagen. Get it inside your body, okay? It is literally research proven by research to improve skin hydration, elasticity, and density. And make sure you're getting your vitamin C, because vitamin C plays a critical role in the production and maintenance of vitamin C. All right. So basically, those are the all the points that I wanted to tell you to help you with your skin, right? Which is the base of any, which is the canvas of any fragrance, right? Is our skin. So, we went further than, layering your fragrances with lotions and perfumes and mists and so on and so forth, and oils and all that stuff. And I do all of that stuff, but there are so many people, they do all that and it's still, they still struggle. Or the people who do that and they literally want to take it to a whole nother level. So that's why we had to, take a deep dive and go deep into the body and fix ourselves from the inside out, right? To properly, to create an optimized environment for these fragrances to stick to. And I really hope you guys found this helpful. I really hope this helps you guys on your fragrance journey. Please let me know what you thought of this. Let me know if you have any ideas. And I will be doing a typical external how to layer fragrance videos. But before I even touch the external, I wanted to go internally, right? Because it doesn't matter what you do externally if the internal is not regulated, right? It doesn't matter what you put on the outside, right? So I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope this really wasn't too long, and I hope you were able to stay to the end. And just a gentle reminder, please take a moment to thank somebody today, even if for something small. And more importantly, take a moment to thank God, because if you're here watching this video, that means we made it into yet another day. And even with our trials and tribulations, God is great. All right. Thank you, my friend. Bye.